camping was supposed to be an escape, a break from the stress of work, school, and the constant noise of city life. That's what Jake, Aaron, and Lisa thought when they planned their weekend getaway. A few days of hiking, fishing, and sleeping under the stars sounded like the perfect way to unwind. And they wanted to do it properly. No crowded campsites, no screaming kids, no car campers blaring music, just them and the wild. They picked a spot far off the beaten path, miles away from civilization. No cell service, no nearby towns. They had their tents, their supplies, and their sense of adventure. It was supposed to be perfect. It wasn't. They arrived in the afternoon, hiking deep into the forest before settling on a clearing surrounded by tall, ancient trees. A small stream trickled nearby. It was exactly what they were looking for. Secluded, peaceful, untouched. They set up camp, built a fire, and by nightfall they were relaxing under a sky full of stars, drinking beer, and telling old stories. But as the fire burned low, Aaron noticed something. "Is it just me?" he said, staring into the darkness. "Or is it too quiet?" Lisa tilted her head. He was right. No crickets, no owls, no rustling leaves, just an unnatural, suffocating silence that settled over the forest like a heavy fog. Jake shrugged. "Maybe the animals know we're here." Lisa frowned, but said nothing. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. By midnight, they crawled into their tents. Lisa lay awake for hours, staring at the thin nylon walls of her tent, feeling an unease she couldn't explain. At some point, exhaustion won. And then, she heard it. A soft voice, just outside her tent. Lisa's eyes snapped open. She held her breath, straining to listen. A faint, breathy whisper, just barely audible, like wind through the leaves. She thought she imagined it, until she heard it again. Closer. Lisa sat up, heart pounding. She reached for her phone, but as soon as she moved, the whispering stopped. She swallowed hard. She wanted to call out for Jake or Aaron, but something told her not to. Instead, she lay back down, pulling the sleeping bag up to her chin, and squeezed her eyes shut. She barely slept. In the morning, she told the others. Jake smirked. "You sure you weren't dreaming?" Lisa glared. "I wasn't dreaming." Aaron, though, was quiet. He glanced around the trees, then muttered, "Let's just keep our eyes open tonight." Lisa felt relieved until she saw it. At the edge of the clearing, just beyond the tree line, deep in the undergrowth where no one had walked, was a footprint. Bare. Human. Facing toward the camp. By the third night, they were on edge. They had planned to stay 4 nights, but Lisa insisted they leave in the morning. The unease had settled into all of them by now, that creeping feeling of being watched. They built the fire higher that night, its glow flickering against the dark trees. No one laughed. No one told stories. They just sat in silence, listening. And then, at exactly midnight, Lisa heard it again. The whispering. Jake and Aaron heard it too this time. It came from the trees. Soft, broken syllables, like someone was trying to speak, but didn't quite know how. Lisa gripped Aaron's arm. "It's closer." Jake grabbed the flashlight and pointed it toward the forest. Nothing. Then, they heard the crunch of a footstep. Aaron's breath caught in his throat. That was not an animal. Jake took a slow step forward. "Who's there?" he called. Silence. Lisa shook her head furiously. "Don't!" Then something moved. Just beyond the firelight, at the edge of the darkness, a shadow shifted. Tall. Too tall. Jake's flashlight flickered, then went out. Lisa grabbed his wrist. "Run!" They bolted for their tents, grabbing whatever they could. As they scrambled for their gear, they heard it. Footsteps. Fast. Heavy. And then something laughed. A high-pitched, broken giggle. Jake didn't wait. He grabbed the keys and sprinted toward the car. The moment he started the engine, Aaron made the mistake of looking back. He saw it, standing just at the tree line, illuminated in the red glow of the taillights. A figure. Thin. Too thin. Arms too long. Face pale and stretched into an unnatural grin, watching them leave. They didn't stop driving for hours. When they finally reached civilization, they pulled into a gas station, sat in silence, and tried to make sense of what happened. Aaron wouldn't talk. Lisa just stared at her phone. When Jake finally asked if she was okay, she just turned the screen toward him. Her voice memo app was open. A new recording had appeared, time-stamped from exactly midnight. Lisa's hand trembled as she hit play. The recording was silent at first, then a deep, rattling breath, and then a whisper. "Why did you leave?" Silence. Then, "I liked watching you sleep." They never went camping again.